Today on Know the Truth with Philip de Courcy.
I think when it comes to many Christians, that we have passively embraced the sweeping changes that technology has brought to life. Because the speed of change is so fast that I'm not sure our thinking has caught up with our technology.
For many of us, it's hard to remember when we didn't have cell phones and the internet, and the digital innovations just keep coming. So today on Know the Truth, pastor and Bible teacher Philip de Courcy is guiding us through a spiritual tech check. While the internet gives us 24/7 access to news, weather, social media sites, and entertainment, should we keep connected at all times? Philip is examining the benefits and challenges of our digital world in day 2 of a series called Tech Savvy. The full message at ktt.org. But here's Philip with today's message.
When we talk about the technology in terms of communication, travel, medicine, entertainment, how we learn, how we communicate, for the most part, it's all good. These are the best of times. But let me qualify that a little bit. Let me justify why we as a pastoral team and as an eldership decided this would be a good topic to discuss. Because the speed of change is so fast that I'm not sure our thinking has caught up with our technology. I'm not sure our thinking has caught up with our technology. I think when it comes to many Christians, that we have passively embraced the sweeping changes that technology has brought to life. And so let's jump in. If you're taking notes, I've put all my headings under the letter T. Number one, when it comes to media, technology, number one, it's a question of thanks. I want to start out on a positive note. It's a question of thanks. These are the best of times. I love living in the modern world. I like modern machines and conveniences and the blessing in travel, communication, comfort, medicine that technology brings. If you ask me, you know what, if you had a choice, what era would you like to live in? Now. Okay? Now. This is a question of thanks. The world is a better place because of technology. We're living longer, traveling further, accessing, enjoying more of the world around us. A world that God declared good. And technology allows us to enjoy good things. And 1 Timothy 6:17 reminds us that God has given us all things to enjoy. And while I need to be discerning, technology in the digital world is something to enjoy and receive it as a gift from God. We don't need to be cultural Luddites. You know who the Luddites were? They were a 19th century group of Englishmen that went through factories smashing up machines. They didn't like the progress that technology was given, and some of their concerns were real, to be honest about it, but the phrase a Luddite has just come to describe someone that's kind of against progress and advancement. The Christian isn't to be a cultural Luddite. We're to embrace change and see the good in it, because what we're talking about here in technology and digital developments is what I would call the outworking of the creation mandate. Okay, back in Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 to 28, what does the Bible say? This is what God says to the first man and the first woman. This is the mission statement. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply." Okay, that's the social side of things. Start a family, develop societies, communities, fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. This is what we call the creation mandate. And included in it is this idea that man can take what God has made, what's on the earth, what's above the earth, what's beneath the earth. Man can take what God has made and make something of it for human advancement. Man is called to take what God has created and to repurpose it and reorder it for his benefit. He's to subdue the earth. He's to exercise dominion and rule over the earth. We're created in the image of the Creator. And one of the distinct things about a man or a woman is their ability to create, to show initiative. And we ought to embrace that. Created in the image of the Creator, man is given to invention, creative activity, and Christians are to celebrate that happily. In fact, that's what technology is. Technology is subduing the earth. It's taking materials that God has given us. It's taking the wisdom and scientific development of centuries that have piled upon centuries and making something better. Technology is the reordering of raw materials for human purposes. As Tony Renke in his book, 12 Ways Your Phone Will Change You says, Adam and Eve reordered the raw materials of soil in order to make plants and flowers flourish. Today, chefs and cooks reorder raw materials of foods into delicious meals. Framing carpenters reorder raw materials of wood and nails, form homes. Pharmaceutical chemists reorder organic and synthetic elements into healing drugs. Musicians reorder notes and sounds into music. Novelists reorder the raw material of human experience into stories. You get the point. We can reorder the created order to our benefit. And as we do that, made in the image of the Creator, in the best of circumstances, we're to celebrate that, enjoy that, and give thanks to God. As we're made in His image, we're His image bearers, and that shows up in creativity, in the laboratory, in the workshop, in the field, on a piece of paper. We reflect our Creator in our creations. And we ought to give thanks to God for that. And God is pleased. God likes technology in that sense, in that man has a wonderfully reordered the created order and made things that reflect the image of the Creator in man's creativity. I just want you to understand that before we get into the downsides. We're not Luddites, okay? That's why I'm not in favor of strict separation. Because hopefully we can take that which is good and keep it good. Or make it good, or put it to good ends, while the world system might take that which is good and use it to bad purposes. So it's important that you and I grasp that. Because in many ways, all of life, I forget where I stole this phrase, all of life is cosmic plagiarism. That's true. All of life is cosmic plagiarism. We're just plagiarists. We're simply a reflection of the Creator. And often I've been reminding myself, because I love technology and I love aircraft. When I'm on a modern aircraft, recently I flew in a Boeing 787 Dreamliner. I mean, it's a marvel to behold. And I find myself thinking it's systems like the avionics and all of that. And without thought about God, and I had to pinch myself and go, man, if this is what man can do, how great is the Creator? How glorious is the one who makes it all and upholds it all by the word of his power. You know the story, don't you, of Samuel Morse, who gave us Morse code, who gave us the telegraph. When he was demonstrating the telegraph to the American Congress, he sent the message from Capitol Hill to Baltimore, Maryland. And does anybody know what the first message was? What the first telegram was? He was actually given the idea by a little girl called Annie, who was a daughter of the Commissioner of Patents. It actually was Numbers 23:23. It was the words, "What hath God wrought?" What hath God wrought? That's a good way to introduce a new technology. What God has wrought through the creativity of man, made in his image, may God be praised. May we use these things for his glory. May we thank him for every convenience and comfort that technology brings to life. Okay? Question of thanks. Now that we've got that out of the way, I'm going to be bad for the rest of the sermon. Number 2, it's a question of time. I want you to be tech savvy. So give thanks. That's part of the wisdom. Number 2, but be concerned about the waste of time. Technology is a question of thanks, and it's a question of time. We as God's people should be the most time-conscious people on planet Earth. What about Psalm 39, verse 4? Psalm 39, verse 4 would remind us of that aspect to life. Listen to the psalmist. Lord, make me to know my end. Help me to meditate on my death. Help me to realize the clock is ticking down. The hourglass is running out. Lord, make me to know my end and what the measure of my days are, that I might know how frail I am. You have made my days as a hand's breadth. If you were to put your hand out tonight, palm facing away, fingers to the sky, I want you to imagine to your left a line that goes back to the beginning of time, to in the beginning. And then on this side, another line that just stretches infinitely out into eternity. Try and imagine the expanse of that line and see the breadth of your hand in its context. It's nothing. The dash between the day you're born and the day you die is a very small dash. And Christians are very time conscious because God has put eternity in our hearts. We realize that that's what life is. It is an experience that takes place between 2 points of infinity. That's why the psalmist says, Psalm 90, verse 12, help me to number my days that I might apply my heart to wisdom. What is wisdom? That's life in the fear of God. That's life connected to the thought of eternity. Now, while we realize there's a time and a season to everything under the sun, I don't want us to get paranoid. I don't want us to get to a point as Christians where you can't enjoy a little bit of downtime or you can't sit and watch a movie to relax because eternity beckons. I can't sit at peace. I can't rest. We don't want to get to there. There's a time and a season to everything under the sun. But we do know one life to live, 'twill soon be past. Only what's done for Jesus will last. That's why David Brainerd prayed, Lord, help me not to linger on my way to heaven. Say, Pastor, I thought this was a message on technology. I'm getting there. I just want you to get a sense that we of all people on the earth should be time conscious. And given that, how dangerous is the digital world? How seductive is technology? Because it will do 2 things in relation to time. Number 1, it's a great time waster. It's a great time waster. Come on, let's be honest about it. Technology, YouTube, the media platforms that are available to us, they entertain us with the trivial. They marginalize the substantial and the essential. We'll come back to that thought in our next thought. But media is constantly interrupting us, constantly diluting our focus, where we get less done. It offers us so many options, we get stir crazy. It wastes our time, distracting us, entertaining us with lesser things, giving us so much to do, we do less. The average person checks their phone every 4.3 minutes. Nielsen, a media company, says the average adult spends almost 10.5 hours a day in some form of media. 70% of people tell us the first thing they do in the morning is grab their smartphone. The digital world is a huge black hole, and our time disappears into it. We find ourselves browsing, stuff to buy. watching triviality on YouTube, listening to music on our iTunes, watching movies on Netflix, checking, updating Facebook, reading and researching articles, on it goes. Some of that's justifiable. The rest of it's just quicksand that pulls us in and pulls us down. You know what it's like. I know what it's like. It's at our fingertips. Before we know it, our head is down and we lift them up about an hour later. And we wonder where the time has gone. And when we look back on the last 60 minutes, it amounted to not much. The time we spend with technology is supposed to save us time, but it doesn't. It's a great time waster. Rapper and pastor Trip Lee says this, I will admit there have been times when I've looked up and realized I was looking down at my phone for 15 minutes and my son was playing right in front of me and I realized that I was not paying attention to my wife like I should. It takes intentionality and that is an ongoing fight for me. It's a fight for all of us. The digital world is a great time waster. It tempts us and it titillates us and it thrills us with stuff that's but dust in the scales of eternity. But there's another thing it does, and I think this is very interesting. The digital world not only wastes our time, it reduces our perspective on time. What do I mean by that? There's an immediacy about technology. There's what's called presentism about the digital world. It makes us prisoners to the here and now, to the contemporary moment. That's a fact, and it's a challenge. Every breaking news item, every calendar reminder, every trending movie, every piece of music, every alert regarding posts and products trap us in the contemporary moment. In the digital world, yesterday is ancient history. Okay? That's so yesterday when it was only yesterday. That's the world we live in. Like Gulliver, we have been tied down to our present moment by 1,000 digital connections. And it's hard to break free. It's hard to think beyond the moment, beyond the present, beyond the here and the now. In fact, here's what one writer says, Tony Reinke, quoting both himself and another, it is of the nature of technology to dislocate us historically. In principle, writes Greg Gay, the technological habit of mind is anti-teleological. Teleological means the purpose of, the beginning of, the aim of, the goal of. So he's making an argument that technology works against teleological thinking. It doesn't make us think about purpose and meaning and process and breadth of time. It's largely uninterested and indeed incapable of appreciating the notions of final causality or ultimate purpose. Our digital devices cannot lead us. They cannot map our history. They cannot settle our priorities. All of these aims are rendered insignificant in comparison to the now of innovation. It's true. It traps us in the contemporary moment. It's marked by chronological snobbery. The new is good. The old is bad. It doesn't allow us to look back, and there's no need to look forward, or else you'll miss out on what's happening now. The digital world and technology has divided time into a fraction. You can see that all around you, people lost in their own little world, captured by the moment, the latest trend, the latest thing, the latest idea. Kind of scary. And it should be for people like us who are time conscious and eternally oriented. In fact, I was thinking about the Bible and time and how the Bible encourages us to understand personal time, political time, and prophetical time. Let me give you the verses you can look at in your own time. Personal time, that's Ephesians 5:15-17, where we're told to redeem the time. Because the days are evil. Buy back the time. Buy up the opportunity to do something for God, to enhance your eternal reward, to win the well done, good and faithful servant. Redeem the time. Buy up the opportunity. It's all around you. The days are evil. And one of the evils of the time is to stop you from redeeming time. And redeeming time in that context is understanding what the will of God is and doing it. God's got things for us to do. God has allotted us a time, and He's allotted us a series of works to do within that time, and you and I better discover what that is and do it while time lasts. Okay? We are His workmanship. We are His masterpiece, created in Christ Jesus on the good works, which He has preordained, planned for us to do. And so we really can't be sitting around twiddling our thumbs and getting caught up in the present moment and all the trends and trash that mark this culture. No, we want to understand personal time. God, what is it you want me to do? And then make sure we do it. Then there's political time. That's 1 Chronicles 12, verse 32. The tribe of Issachar, it says they understood the times in which they were in and they reacted accordingly. We need to understand our culture and the time we're in, where the subjective has overtaken the objective, where feelings are more valued than truth, where the moment is all you have and eternity's just darkness. That's the kind of times we're in. A time when no thought is given to the times before our time. You know, the old is bad, the new is good. Those are the times we're in, and we've got to fight that. We can't float, we've got to swim. And then there's prophetical time. That's Romans chapter 13, verses 11 to 14, right? Do this knowing the time that now is. It's high time to awake out of sleep. Time to put your phone down, turn your tablet off, stop watching Netflix and do something for God. Serve the kingdom, love your neighbor, win the lost. Do you know what time it is? It's high time to awake out of sleep. For now our salvation is nearer than when we first believed. The night is far spent. You want to know where you are in history? You're well into the day. It's not 9 o'clock in the morning prophetically. We're moving towards midnight. The night is far spent. The day, that is the day of Jesus' return, is at hand. Therefore, cast off the works of darkness and let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk properly in the day, not in revelry and drunkenness. Boy, doesn't that describe what you'll see on the internet? Lewdness and lust, doesn't that describe what you'll see on the internet? Strife and envy, isn't that what the internet produces? Waking up. Understand your personal time, what God wants you to do, and do it. Understand the political time, what's going on around you in the culture, and understand that, you know what, the any moment return of Jesus Christ could be at any moment. Therefore, be awake and be ready.
You're listening to Philip de Courcy here on Know the Truth. All the messages in the Tech Savvy series are available online, of course, at ktt.org. At Know the Truth, it's our mission to proclaim God's truth so men and women can live in the freedom Christ provides. Whether the topic is tech or theology, prophecy, or evangelism, Philip de Courcy shares biblical truth to lead you into a life that honors God and builds up you and your family. But this ministry wouldn't be possible without your support, and that's why we'd like to invite you to become a Truth Ambassador today. These monthly givers allow us to continue sharing the good news about Jesus Christ right here on this station and around the country. As a small thanks for becoming a Truth Ambassador or giving a one-time gift, we'll send you an insightful book that guides you through the biblical prophecies about the end times. It's called 101 Answers to Questions About the Book of Revelation. Request your copy along with your gift by calling 888-644-8811 or visiting ktt.org. You can also write to Know the Truth, Post Office Box 30250, Anaheim Hills, California, 92809. I'm Wayne Shepherd. That's our time for today, but be sure to come back tomorrow for the Thursday edition of Know the Truth. Today's program was produced and sponsored by Know the Truth Incorporated. Jesus said, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free."